Hi, I'm Garmbreak1, and this is Midgardia's Cool Crowdfunding Show. I'm here today with Spencer Campbell. How's it going?
It's going very well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. So, Spencer, it's your third time on the show, and this time you're here to talk about frames. So, how would you tell us about that?
It's very exciting to be back here. I'm glad I could be your three-peat. So I'm here to talk about Frame. It's my Kickstarter that's coming up in 2 days as of recording. On March 13th is when it launches. It is my rules light, action-packed love letter to the looter shooter genre. So think games like Warframe and Destiny and Borderlands and things like that. With a pretty heavy emphasis on inspiration from Warframe in particular for this one. So it's rules light. It's if you've played Light or seen Light, which is one of my other RPGs that I've made, it borrows a lot from the design choices in that. So if you like the Light rule system, then Frame will be right up your alley.
A light-based rules-light game, easy to remember.
Easy peasy.
So, what do you do in your average session of Frame?
So I like games that have sort of cycles of play built into them. I think that's why Blades in the Dark is one of my favorite games, just because it has a very clear cycle that you're expected to follow. And so it's a similar sort of structure here where it's a mission oriented game where at the beginning of a session, the GM will describe some sort of mission. There'll be sort of a briefing that the frames will get. And the players who are playing these biomechanical guardians of the solar system are then sent off to go do that mission. Most of the session is the actual mission itself, and then there's a brief bit of time afterwards to sort of reflect on it and do some like in between work or stuff between your jobs, and then you go right back to work on your next mission.
Cool. Yeah, so it's a very, very mission-focused, yeah. This is not a game where you can, kind of divert and play Space Truckers for a bit.
Yeah, I it seems, at least looking at my track record, I tend to make a lot of games that are very much about do this job, do this mission, do this heist or crime or whatever it is, and that's what the session is supposed to be. It's just I like having that structure.
I'm a big fan of crime, personally, so that works out nicely for me.
Exactly.
So, what are the player characters like in Frame?
So you play as frames, which, as I mentioned before, you are sort of a biomechanical being. So basically, spliced together human DNA, some robotics, and a little bit of alien DNA, and you get these frames. Um, there are some cool pictures, like you'll see a picture on the banner for the Kickstarter, which gives you a pretty good idea of what a frame looks like. But you are these beings who were created to defend the solar system, and pardon me, you're trying to fulfill that job now. And so each frame is designed for a different aspect of war, and so it's very similar to classes that you see in other games. So that if you really like playing the big tanky, absorb all the damage sort of character, then there's a frame for that. There's a frame that is much more like in the role of like what we would call like a caster or a wizard equivalent, a support, all that sort of thing. So you can play the you can choose the frame that fits the play style that you like.
Right, so you can be a space ninja, space wizard, space guy with a gun. Yeah,
Exactly. Just put space in front of every D&D class, and there you go. You've got all your frames right there.
space cleric.
That'd actually be pretty cool, right? I mean,
Actually,
that's what
yeah.
Harrow is in
Oh,
Warframe,
that's
so it
true.
makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. No, that's a good point.
Hmm.
Yeah, do you have Limbo in there yet? Everybody's favorite friend to
No,
be on a team yet?
everybody keeps telling me to make Limbo, and I hate Limbo so much.
Don't make Limbo. Limbo,
I'm
fucking
never
Limbo
never
is
gonna make Limbo.
Limbo is fine on his own. People who go into random matches playing as Limbo, I see you.
There's a special place in hell for them.
A special place in this like weird rift. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
God, the effect for being in that rift is bad. Like, I have perfectly fine color vision. I cannot imagine being expected to see that with like color blindness.
It's real tricky. I mean, I just remember really early on when I was learning how to play Warframe years ago and like getting randomly paired with a limbo and like just suddenly I was in the rift and I was like, I don't know what's happening. Why is none of my stuff working? And it was a real bad time. Real bad time.
Yup, I love Warframe. I don't love Limbo.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have oh god, what's the one with the like Roomba that plays music?
Octavia?
Yeah.
I feel like I should make an Octavia just because Octavia Prime just came out. Maybe that'll be like a stretch goal or like a random free release or something just to like ride the wave of Octavia Prime coming out.
I feel like how to play Octavia is bring a guitar.
That'd be pretty cool, right? That'd be real cool.
Uh, um, are there any other aspects of Frame that you'd like me to, steer towards or highlight?
So for me, it's another one of my games that I'm making where I really want to encourage folks to make stuff for it. So ultimately, like when the game is made and released, there's going to be a jam for it, similar to how in Slayers there was a jam, in Light there was a jam. Because I mean, there's so much that you could make for the game that for me, the game itself is going to be this. It's going to be like this beautifully laid out, full color, about 60 pages is the estimate. It's going to be a like a paperback, like a perfect bound book, and the base is there. Like the game is good and solid, and then it has the capacity to just like glue on whatever parts onto it that you want, which is I think very much my brand with my games is that I like encouraging folks to just make whatever wild idea that they have for it. So I hope people see the game and see the sort of hackability of it. I think that's just something that I generally like to put in my games, and so I hope folks see that. I mean, I was on a Warframe stream last night, and someone has already made like 16 frames of their own, and I was like, already, like the game's not even out. He had seen an early draft, so it's there. Like that hacking potential's there, and I'm really excited to see what people do with it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm especially looking forward to the fishing rules. Shout out to Keegan.
Yeah, I assume Keegan will be right at the front of the list for making the fishing rules for the game.
Uh, yeah, and the Light Jam produced some very cool stuff. Just yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what people make. I'm excited to show people like I'm excited to see what the final game is going to look like because because I'm taking it to Kickstarter. It has like a cool team on it as opposed to when I like Light I just made on my own, so it is what it is. It's fine in my opinion in terms of layout and stuff, but I've got Jam on this for layout, and she's ridiculously good at layout. And I've got Royal Pratt on Twitter is doing the character art, and she does Warframe fan art. So she was like, "Oh yeah, I could make kind of Warframe adjacent characters." And Will Yobst is editing it, and they know how to write games and how to edit, and so the words will actually be much better in this game than others. So I'm really excited to have like a game that's made with a really stellar team like this.
I'm glad. And I've seen bits of the layout and it looks fantastic.
Jam is crushing it, crushing it.
Um Crap, I had a question and it's gone now. Eh, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Um, so I guess just in terms of like the timing of it all, so it'll go live on Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. So I'm out of Chicago, so it's based off of my time. And it'll run for 3 weeks. So it's a Saturday to Saturday campaign, 3 weeks. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm doing there's two covers. So Jam made the covers for the game as well, and she made this very cool like they're these it's this cool like wiry looking art style. And so there's one that's a spaceship zooming through space. And that's going to be the standard cover. And then there's one that is like this incredibly badass, like blade crowned wearing skeleton, which just looks amazing. And so that one I'm going to do a limited print run. So there's only going to be 50 copies of that one printed. And so folks, if they want it, have to be early out the gate to back it, to make sure that you grab one of those copies, the limited edition copies, because once they're gone, they're gone. I'm not going to print anymore or anything like that.
Does the skull crown is the skull crown printed with like gold foil?
No,
Oh,
because all
that's
that's like so expensive. If it like wildly overfunds, maybe. But another thing, like my campaign, I don't want to overfill it with a lot of stretch goals and stuff like that, because I want the game to get to people without having a big delay in development. And then on top of that, a lot of my stretch goals I want to have focused on paying the team more. So I have kind of baked in some plans for pay raises and bonuses and stuff like that, because the game is only as good as it is because of the folks that are involved in it. So if I can pay all of them a little bit more, that'll feel good to me at least.
absolutely. And we've talked many times on this show about how stretch goals are kind of the people see them as like a mandatory feature of Kickstarters. Like, oh, I gotta have a thing at 100,000 where I write 2 more books and like
Mm.
spend 3 years of my life researching things in the mountains of Tibet. No, don't do that.
Yeah, it can really creep up on you. And like for me, I learned a valuable lesson when I did Slayers last year with my Kickstarter or with my stretch goals, in terms of like suddenly having a lot more to do, and just, adding things adds weight to the book. Let me tell you that. So, if you're planning your shipping and you mess with the quality of the book, your shipping estimates might change pretty drastically. So for me, I've got it mostly plugged in. I've got a sense of what I want the book to be. And so I don't think I need to add any more. Although I was on Plus One EXP the other day, and Tony recommended doing coloring book pages of the frames, because Fashion Frame is so big in Warframe. And I was, Tony, that's a very good idea that has been planted into my mind, which I don't know, maybe that could be something that we could just print off some quick sheets and throw some like just line art character prints into your package and send it off. I'm not saying that's happening, but if I was to add stretch goals, I feel like coloring book version of Frame would be on the list. It's high up on the list.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I've spent many hours of my life doing the fashion frame thing. Oh,
It's fun, right? Like that's the true end game. So if we can do it in our RPGs, then hell yeah.
do I have to pay you money to use more colors?
Yeah, right. That's the like, how can I somehow microtransaction the coloring book?
Yeah, these it's made so it only will accept like these specific crayons or whatever.
Right. And you gotta buy the proprietary crayons from me if you want if you want gold. You better be ready to pay up.
If you want gold, you better have platinum.
Uh-huh. Oh, very good, very good.
Uh, well, this seems really cool. And there's a link to this below, so go click
Sweet.
that.
You should click that link. And then
Yes.
yeah, it's 3 weeks. So you got time, but if you want that super cool limited edition cover, act fast.
And Spencer, before we go, you've done a game based on or inspired by Destiny. You've done a game inspired by Warframe. When can we expect the other major looter shooter as a game from you? When can we expect Anthem?
So Anthem would be really good, right? Wouldn't Anthem be cool? Like, what if I'm the one that saves Anthem now that it's been abandoned? What if I bring it back through TTRPGs? Oh no, you've planted a dangerous idea in my head. I loved Anthem for like the brief time, that it was around and played. Like, it felt cool to fly around and be Iron Man essentially in different forms. But it's such a shame that it was abandoned like that. So yeah,
It,
maybe, I mean, like, there's already a really good Borderlands RPG out there with shoot and loot, and so like somebody's already got that one covered. Anthem would be neat, although maybe you could just look at other mecha games and they've got that handled. Maybe Outriders. I think I've already kind of alluded to the idea that I might play around with Outriders as my next looter shooter love letter RPG.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to Outriders. I played through the demo, and I believe you did as well.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a looter shooter, so for me, it's like I'm gonna get my dopamine. I'm gonna get my green numbers going bigger, and I'm feeling good. That's all I need. I'm a simple man.
my only regret about Outriders is that they call it friggin' Outriders, and you can't drive a vehicle anywhere in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe there will be like massive amounts of video or vehicle stuff later on.
I hope so. I'm
Pretty neat.
not getting my hopes up.
Yeah,
A lot of the articles seem to imply that's not the case, but oh well.
bummer. Oh well.
Give me a tank. Destiny gave me a tank.
It did give you a tank, which felt pretty cool, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, before we wander too wildly off topic, anything else you'd like to bring up while you're here, Spencer?
I think that's like the most important stuff. I'm sure I'll inevitably be back because I'm working on the Slayer's Almanac in the background. I'm still chatting with Mike about that. That'll be sort of the next big supplement for Slayers, which will be collaboratively written by a bunch of folks. That's coming. It's coming. I've got to get Frame taken care of first. And let's see here. Otherwise, Light, my other love letter game, the first season is going along strongly. I'm doing sort of a season pass thing, and the third of the fourth module is just recently released. And now I'm doing this brainstorming of a whole new way to support Light as sort of like a games as service approach, making it a live game. So I've been doing some brainstorming, and I'm going to start posting videos on my YouTube about that. So if you're interested in seeing what a live RPG might be, that's a cool thing to check out. And then I think those are the big things that I'm working on right now.
Nice. Yeah, and like down below this video, you've got links to the Kickstarter, links to Spencer's itch.io page, and the Twitter, where you can wake up every morning and see that Spencer has developed another game.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But only after I say that I'm taking the day off, right? I first have to say I'm not designing today, and then there will be a release later that day.
Yeah, like 4 hours later, oh yeah, I made a game.
Oops, it happened
Whoops.
again.
Well, Spencer, it's been great to have you on again.
It's been great being on again. I really appreciate it.
All right, and for everybody watching at home, have a good night.
See ya.